Have you ever stopped to think about the one thing in your body that's behind every single move you make, every sensation you feel? From feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin to, the sting of a paper cut. Well, today we're diving deep into that structure, the spinal cord. It's often overlooked, but it is absolutely vital.
The best way to think about the spinal cord is as your body's own biological superhighway. Seriously, it's the central communication network, and it's carrying a constant, massive stream of messages between your brain and, well, everywhere else. It makes everything you do, from walking to even just breathing, possible. But here's the part that'll blow your mind. This superhighway, which is carrying billions of signals and controlling your entire body, it's incredibly delicate. It stretches about 45 centimeters long, but it's only about 10 millimeters wide. Just look at your pinky nail. That's it. That's how wide it is.
So that's the big question, right? How does this tiny, fragile-looking thing handle such a massive job? How does it process every touch, command every single muscle, and sometimes even react faster than your brain can think? Well, let's pop the hood and take a look inside.
Okay, first things first, the anatomy. You see, the spinal cord isn't just one simple cable. Oh no. It's a really complex, layered structure that's been brilliantly engineered for both amazing protection and super high-speed performance. So the first line of defense is this set of 3 tough protective membranes, and they're called the meninges. Think of them like armor. The outer layer, the dura mater, is really tough and fibrous. Under that, you've got this web-like layer called the arachnoid mater, and then clinging right to the cord itself is a very delicate pia mater. And in between all those layers, you have cerebrospinal fluid, which acts as the perfect shock absorber.
Now, if you look at a cross-section, right at the very core, you see this really distinct butterfly shape. This is the gray matter. It's made up of the main bodies of the nerve cells, the neurons, and it works like a series of local command centers, or junction boxes, where information gets processed and signals get passed along.
And surrounding that gray matter butterfly is the white matter. This is where all the long-distance travel happens. It's made up of the long, cable-like parts of the neurons. Those are called axons. And the reason it's white, well, it's because of a fatty, insulating substance called myelin, which, as we're about to see, is absolutely crucial for speed.
So to put it really simply, the gray matter is the processing center, kind of like a local computer chip, and the white matter is the transmission highway. Think of it like high-speed fiber optic cables. You've got processing and transmission, and they're working together perfectly.
Okay, so now that we know the basic anatomy, let's get into how this highway actually directs all its traffic, because the flow of information is unbelievably organized and efficient.
It all comes down to one simple, really elegant rule. All the incoming sensory information, things like touch, pain, temperature, it all enters the spinal cord from the back. And all the outgoing motor commands, the signals telling your muscles what to do, they all exit from the front. It's a perfectly organized one-way system.
But it's not just organized. It's just ridiculously fast. Some of these nerve signals can travel at over 100 meters per second. That's more than 10 times faster than the fastest human sprinter on the planet. So how is that even possible?
Well, the secret ingredient is that myelin we mentioned just a minute ago. The myelin sheath is a fatty layer that wraps around the nerve fibers, and it acts just like the plastic insulation on an electrical wire. It stops the electrical signal from leaking out, which allows it to travel much, much faster.
Okay, so here's how it actually works. Without myelin, a signal would just move along the nerve kind of like dominoes falling one by one. I mean, it gets there, but it takes a while. But the myelin sheath isn't a solid tube. It has these little tiny gaps, and this allows the electrical signal to literally jump from one gap to the next, skipping all the insulated parts. This leaping action is what makes the whole transmission process so incredibly fast.
But the spinal cord isn't just a passive relay station, not at all. It has one more incredible trick up its sleeve. For those situations that demand instant action, it can actually make decisions on its own, completely bypassing the brain.
We call these reflexes, and they're basically the body's built-in emergency response system. They are these protective shortcuts that let your body react to danger way faster than you could ever consciously think about it.
Let's start with the one we all know, the classic knee-jerk reflex. So first, the doctor's little hammer taps a tendon, and that stretches your thigh muscle. A sensory neuron detects that stretch and sends a signal shooting straight into the spinal cord. Now inside the cord, that neuron connects directly to a motor neuron, which instantly sends a command right back, telling the thigh muscle to contract.
And the result? Your leg kicks out. It's the simplest circuit you can imagine, and your brain isn't involved at all. Now, for a more complex example, think about pulling your hand away from a hot stove. A pain signal travels to the spinal cord, but this time it connects to a little middleman called an interneuron. And this little guy does two things at once. It instantly activates a motor neuron to pull your hand away, and it sends a message up to your brain. This is why you yank your hand back before your brain has even registered the feeling of pain, before you even think, ouch.
Phew! We have covered a lot of ground on this information superhighway, so let's pull over for a second and just review the 5 most important takeaways from all this.
First up, it's the ultimate communicator. It is the non-stop two-way data link between your mind and your body. Simple as that. Without it, your brain's commands would have nowhere to go.
Second, it's built like a fortress. Its delicate tissues aren't just shielded by that flexible column of bone, they're also wrapped in those 3 tough shock-absorbing layers we talked about, the meninges, for maximum safety. Third, it's a really elegant 2-part system. Just remember that gray matter butterfly at the core, acting like a local processing chip, and it's surrounded by the white matter highways for that super-fast long-distance communication. Fourth, it's your autonomous protector. Through reflexes, it can take control in an emergency, kicking off an action to save you from harm before you're even consciously aware that there's danger.
And finally, always remember the tiny giant. Never forget the incredible amount of power that is packed into this tiny structure. It orchestrates your entire physical world, all from within a bundle of nerves that's no wider than your pinky.
Every single feeling, every movement, every interaction you have with the world around you is conducted through this single, delicate cord. It is, quite literally, your connection to life itself. And when you really stop and think about that, isn't that just incredible?